Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching WION World as One with me, Alison LaGrange. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines. Double whammy for Britain's cost of living crisis, soaring inflation and stagnant wages. A PricewaterhouseCoopers report says wages next year will be at 2006 levels, taking inflation into account. Serbia places its armed forces on the highest level of alert, ignoring NATO's calls for calming down of tension. This after a shooting incident in Kosovo's northern region flared tensions between the Balkan neighbours. Five days on, still no sign of the fierce storm in the U.S. easing. Death toll rises to 60. New York and Buffalo region worst hit by snow and plummeting temperatures. Ukrainian president speaks to Indian Prime Minister Modi, seeks help of India as G20 president in implementation of his peace plan. Prime Minister also conveyed India's support for any peace efforts. Taiwan extends compulsory military service from 4 months to 1 year. This comes a day after Taipei reported the largest ever Chinese Air Force incursion in its air defense zone. Hello and welcome. Let's take a look at our top story this hour. Yet another blow for British citizens hoping for a better 2023. According to a report published by PricewaterhouseCoopers company, the average British workers' pay in 2023 is expected to fall back to 2006 levels once inflation is taken into account. In a big upset for those hoping for a New Year salary bump to offset the soaring food and energy costs, the real wages, which factor in the inflation, are expected to fall by as much as 3% in 2022 and another 2% in 2023. The PwC report paints a grim picture of the UK's economy, which is struggling to find its track back to normal after the pandemic hit years. The report confirms that wages have been stagnated in Britain, while inflation has hit double digits. This, in turn, has sparked the worst cost of living crisis in decades. And to oppose that, industry workers have been staging widespread strikes across the UK, even during the holiday season. The protesting forces include railways, schools, nurses, hospitals and postal staff. And the PwC economists believe that 2022 has been a challenging year and that 2023 will get headwinds from its previous year. However, the report also left some room for hope, as it suggests that more than 300,000 UK workers could rejoin the labour market in 2023. The rejoinings would reduce economic inactivity and alleviate staff shortages in highly skilled sectors. Immigration to the UK could become another source of hope. It could directly contribute $23 billion to the economy, and the contribution will boost the GDP growth by 1%, even as the whole economy contracts. Now, according to PwC, this is because the UK remains an attractive destination for workers. UK immigration levels reached a record 1.1 million in 2022. However, even with the record immigration, the United Kingdom has lagged behind in its post-COVID employment recovery. Vacancies hit a record 1.3 million earlier in the year, dropping to just under 1.2 million in November. Worker shortages have been particularly acute in the hospitality, retail and agriculture industries. Economists believe early retirement, increasing long-term sickness, lower EU migration following Brexit and an aging UK population have played a role in the workforce crisis. The PwC believes the UK inflation likely peaked in October and will gradually begin to return to target over the next 2 years. Now, for more on this story, we were earlier joined by journalist Jonathan Liss. Let's listen in.
Well, it's obviously very worrying. We know that we have the tightest squeeze on wages and living standards in almost living memory in this country, depending on the scales you use. By some bits, it's for over 100 years is the tightest squeeze. And so we know that we're suffering in this country. And that's why, as you said, there are mass strikes taking place at the moment on a level that simply have not been seen before, at least in almost 100 years since the general strike. We had nurses go on strike for the first time in their union's history last week. Ambulance workers going on strike as well. So there is a massive scale of discontent in this country because, as you say, inflation is soaring and wages are stagnating. And we also are currently in a recession, which is projected by the Bank of England to be the longest in decades. I think there is a global malaise, of course, because of the Ukraine war in particular, and also because the whole world is dealing with the aftershocks of COVID. And we're seeing that in China, for example, at the moment with factories and so on. But of course, as I say, there are specific issues for Britain. Britain is a lot poorer than the British people think it is. And that's a real problem. And Britain is no longer the great economic power that it was until even a few years ago. And that is a really difficult thing to kind of for people to take in. And I think Brexit is the leading cause of that, because not only has it been incredibly damaging for Britain's reputation, but it's also been a hammer blow to Britain's economy at a time when we could not afford it.
After reeling under rising energy prices, the UK government has finally come up with an advert that urges citizens to take only 30 seconds out of their day to reduce their energy use. It will air during festive schedules from 8:30 a.m. starting today. It will be aired on terrestrial and satellite channels, including ITV, Channel 4 and Sky. The advert suggests Britons to spend 30 seconds to take small actions that could conserve energy, such as turning down their boiler flow, switching off lights, closing curtains at night, or reducing washing machine temperatures. The advert, part of a $19 million campaign, states this is a 30-second ad that's not long, but it's long enough to do something that could save you money on your energy bills. Each one you do will be 30 seconds well spent, and they will add up and could save you money. UK ministers have been urged to launch the campaign since the summer, as officials elsewhere in Europe began asking businesses, public bodies and citizens to cut usage amid the high energy bills and concerns over a shortage of gas after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The UK government too was ready to launch a campaign in October, but the move was blocked by Liz Truss, who opposed a nanny state intervention. Ministers have been careful not to advocate anything that would endanger public health. Last week, fire authorities urged households to take care when using candles, wood burners and electric heaters to cut energy bills. The department witnessed a recent surge in house fires. Critics argue that the campaign has been launched too late to make a real difference this winter, as many households have already made every effort to cut their bills. The UK government is trying to cushion the blow of rising energy bills through its energy price guarantee, which caps typical annual household bills at around $2,600 until April, $3,200 after that for a further year. Now, the 69-year-old French man suspected of killing 3 people in the Paris shooting attack last week has been charged with murder and remanded in police custody. The suspect gunman, whose name has not yet been disclosed, has additionally been charged with attempted murder because of race, ethnicity, nationality or religion, along with unauthorized procurement and possession of a weapon. The development comes after, on Sunday, the suspect admitted to his hatred of foreigners in front of the state investigators. During the investigation, the suspect told officials that a 2016 burglary at his home triggered hatred toward foreigners. Officials say that this hate has become totally pathological. The suspected Parisian was also charged last year for attacking migrants. He was freed earlier this month from detention while awaiting trial for the attack. Last week, the shooter killed 2 men and a woman at a Kurdish cultural center and a cafe. He then headed to a nearby barber shop with his loaded gun. The killings have stunned the Kurdish community. Since the attack, protests have taken over Paris and other French cities. There is growing pressure on the government to brand this shooting as a terrorist attack.
At this stage, the future of the Kurds in France is a very sensitive issue. Doubt hangs over the future of the Kurds in France. The feeling of insecurity remains. This is why we have appealed to the French authorities to be listened to be heard, to be reassured, to be protected. We expect the French authorities to implement concrete actions.
Protesters have also blamed Turkey for the deadly attack. During the Monday protests, some people waved flags of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, which is designated as a terrorist organization by Turkey and its Western allies. Others also held banners with slogans accusing Turkey of being a killer state and connected to the shooting.
Pour que la justice nous soit rendue. Nous n'attendrons pas 10 ans.
Il était prisonnier.
He was in jail, this man, a murderer. He was in prison, and you know, in prison, there are many people who are radicalized from all political services, political Islam. It is not unlikely that this guy was contacted by the Turkish services and that he was prepared to commit these crimes.
In light of the incident, Ankara has summoned Paris's ambassador to the country over the anti-Turkey propaganda. A Turkish diplomatic source said the French ambassador was summoned to the foreign ministry for allegedly failing to stop the black propaganda promoted by the PKK. The source further alleged that the PKK's false allegations are being used by French government officials and some politicians against Turkey. Tensions have flared up on the Serbia-Kosovo border. The Serbian president has now ordered the country's troops in the region on full combat readiness, ignoring NATO's call for maintaining peace and calm.
I wish to inform you that we are indeed in a difficult situation, but we will give our utmost. We will care about how to preserve peace and stability, and not only that, how will we protect our people in the north of Kosovo and Metohija? After Albanians have been armed and raised their combat readiness, I will take all measures necessary to protect our nation, to protect Serbia.
The country's interior minister made the troop readiness announcement on Monday, a day after Serbia's army chief was deployed at the tensed border. The Serbian minister said that he was acting on the orders of the president and that all measures are being taken to protect the Serbian people in Kosovo.
In accordance with orders of the President of Serbia and Commander-in-Chief of the Army of Serbia, I have ordered full combat readiness of all units of Ministry of Interior of Serbia, gendarmerie, special anti-terrorist units, police brigades. They all immediately have to make themselves available at disposal of Army Commander and take up positions that are placed in our operational plan.
On Monday, NATO-led peacekeepers posted in Kosovo said that they were investigating a shooting attack that took place in the country's north. The incident took place on Sunday evening in the town of Zubin Potok. The region has been witnessing heightened tensions in recent days after massive protests erupted against the firing of a Serbian police chief. Now, the peacekeepers, also known as the KFOR, said that the incident happened in close proximity to one of their patrols and that it involved unknown people. A statement later released said that no one was injured and that the KFOR is working to establish all the facts. Serbia has meanwhile asked the UN peacekeeping force to deploy up to 1,000 of its troops in Kosovo's Serb-dominated region. Belgrade claims that the ethnic Serbs are subjected to harassment by ethnic Albanians, who are the majority in the country. The request so far has not been granted. Kosovo has remained a potential flashpoint in the Balkans since the 1998-99 war ended with a NATO intervention. Serbia doesn't recognize the 2008 declaration of independence of its former province Kosovo, while Western efforts to mediate a solution have so far failed. Now, Taiwan has extended the current mandatory military service to 1 year from the present 4 months for people above the age of 18. President Tsai Ing-wen announced the decision earlier today. The move comes in the backdrop of China's rising aggression, seeking what it calls Taiwan's reunification with the mainland. An extension of military service up to 1 year requires no related law revisions, so the government may comfortably implement the change.
那么现行的4个月军事训练役制度，在兵员的量能和训练的品质都已经无法因应迅速而且瞬息万变的战备局势，以及当前的战备需求。那么在经过2年完整的评估跟检讨，考量在新的战略架构的兵力需求，我们决定。
A poll conducted by the Taiwan Open Public Foundation reported significant support for increasing military conscription to 1 year. 73% of people surveyed supported extending the mandatory military conscription in Taiwan. Taiwan has about 170,000 active military personnel. That's nearly 10 times less than China. Estimates say that some 100,000 men in Taiwan turn 18 each year. 1 year mandatory military service may be used to bolster defense for the contingencies. On Monday, Taiwan reported the largest Chinese incursion into its air defense identification zone. 71 aircraft entered the identification zone. 43 of them even crossed the Taiwan Straits median line, which is the unofficial buffer between the two sides. Taiwan's defense ministry also detected 7 Chinese naval ships near the self-governed island. China has said it conducted what it calls strike drills in response to the provocation by Taiwan and the US. Shifting focus now, heavy rainfall has triggered emergency evacuation efforts in Jordan's iconic city of Petra. The Petra Development and Tourism Regional Authority evacuated visitors from the heritage site after flooding triggered by rains. Local media showed dramatic images of evacuations that were ordered to ensure the safety of the visitors as waters from the surrounding mountains poured down into the city. Prime Minister chaired an emergency meet to review the disaster preparedness in the region. During the meet, he emphasized on the importance of maintaining coordination among operations and emergency rooms to ensure immediate response amid the prevailing weather conditions. The Prime Minister stressed that all emergency rooms shall provide shelters for citizens and tourists, especially in the Jordan Valley and southern parts of the country that are experiencing heavy rains. The Public Security Directorate has said that the competent authorities are dealing with landslides and rock collapses around the Dead Sea Panorama Road, and they have also advised people to avoid the low-lying areas and the valleys and to move to areas higher to high-lying regions. Meanwhile, the reports say that 3 people were injured after a bus tipped over due to heavy rains in the Ma'an region, and officials have warned of further torrential rains, while universities suspended classes over weather conditions. Former Pakistan Cricket Board Chairman Ramiz Raja has broken his silence after his sacking and termed his removal as a political vendetta. The 1992 World Cup winner launched a scathing attack at the new PCB regime and called the new head, Najam Sethi, a man who has never held a bat. Raja and his board were ousted by the Pakistan government following their humiliating 0-3 home defeat against England, and former head and prominent journalist Najam Sethi was brought back. Raja has now for the first time opened up to his feelings on the change of guard at the top management of Pakistan cricket on his YouTube channel.
एक बंदे को लाने के लिए नजम सेठी को आपको पूरी आपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बदल दी उनको एडजस्ट करने के लिए ये मैंने दुनिया में कहीं होते हुए नहीं देखा यानी कि एक तौर तरीका होता है फिर मिडिल ऑफ द सीजन जब टीम्स आ रही हैं 2:15 बजे वो ट्वीट कर रहे हैं रात को कि जी रमीज राजा बाहर हो गए हैं मुझे मुबारकबाद देना शुरू करते हैं मैंने टेस्ट क्रिकेट खेली हुई ये मेरा प्लेइंग फील्ड है आप समझे या नहीं तो आपको फिर आपको चुभन और हर्ट होती है.
He continued his attack on his successor, stating that Sethi is here for the limelight and not for the advancement of cricket. Raja also claimed ill treatment by the management and said that the constitution of PCB has been bulldozed.
इसलिए कि ऐसे लगता है जैसे कोई मसीहा आ गए हैं जो कि क्रिकेट को पता नहीं कहां से कहां ले जाएंगे. हालांकि हमें पता है कि इनके मोटिव्स और हैं. ये सवाल ही पैदा नहीं होता है कि ये क्रिकेट की एडवांसमेंट के लिए डेवलपमेंट के लिए आए हैं. ये चौधराट के लिए आए हैं और इनको शौक है कि किसी तरह से इनको लाइमलाइट मिल जाए और ना कोई लेना देना क्रिकेट में ना कभी बैट उठाया है.
Raja was appointed as the PCB chief in September of 2021, courtesy of his one-time captain and Pakistan's then Prime Minister Imran Khan. His short stint saw Pakistan host its biggest international tour since the attack on the Sri Lankan team in Lahore in 2009.
Ball is in the air over the head of Moeen Ali. On the way, it's flicked in.
Let's take a look now at what's happening in the world of entertainment. The Wicked Witch of the West's iconic hourglass has found a new home. The Wizard of Oz prop was recently sold for $495,000 by Heritage Auctions. The organization that's known for auctioning off collectibles described it as the most famous and recognizable timepiece in film history. While many versions of the hourglass were created for the film, the one that sold at a hefty price was made out of wood and paper mache. It was used in the climatic scene where the witch holds it above her head in an act of defiance against Dorothy and her friends as they try to escape. Titanic singer Celine Dion recently dropped a new video message for her fans on Christmas. This was her first post since she revealed that she suffers from the neurological disorder called stiff person syndrome. Dion offered encouraging words for her fans in both English and French more than 2 weeks after she acknowledged the ailment and revealed the postponement of the European tour dates. Dion's social media team commemorated the 25th anniversary of the debut of Titanic, which included Dion's enduring "My Heart Will Go On" as its theme between her post on the 8th of December and her holiday message on the 24th of December. The Pakistani film The Legend of Mola Jat, starring Fawad Khan and Maria Khan, will hit the screens in India on the 30th of December. Now, this will perhaps be the first film from Pakistan in over a decade to get a theatrical release here. A remake of the 1979 cult classic Mola Jat, the multi-star film, has not only done phenomenal business in Pakistan, but in several other parts of the world. The historic blockbuster, the Pakistani film, has collected $10 million across the globe. And with that, it's a wrap on this broadcast. Thanks for being with us. Stay tuned to WION World is One for all your global news.
Many other